is a web part, of course. Okay. It has a list box, server-side list box, with a panel. Okay. Now within that panel is a text box and a button that updates. That the button actually says update. All right, and also label result. Now let's look at the code behind and see what we're really doing. Okay. So right click or F7 view code. Try to make this code bigger. All right. So on page load, well, interesting. All right, so we're doing everything on init. So here is initialize control. Okay. All right, nothing to see here. Just make sure the event handler is wired. Okay. Go back to the code behind. Okay. So we're putting things on a pre-render event. So this happens before the controls are rendered to the browser. Okay. We're going to make the panel not visible. This uses the SP context to refer to the current site collection. Okay. All right. Make sure our list box is blank. This for each loop go through all of the site or the SP web object in the all webs collection. Okay. We add a new list item with the web title as the label, web ID as the value. Okay. So in the drop-down box, you see the title, and in the value is the web ID. And when we're done, dispose of the web. Okay. Cool. This populates the drop-down box. All right. Responding to the button update, we're going to first fetch which site are we updating. So we use new GUID by looking at the list web selected value. That selected value, remember, comes from the web.id property. Okay, that's a unique global ID, GUID. Okay, cool. And let's grab what is the new, what is the old title? Actually, sorry, that's not the right code I'm looking at. Here, okay. Whenever you click on the button, we're going to get a GUID from the list box selected value, get a text box, text, cool. Get a reference, all this line is doing is getting a reference based on the GUID, the global unique ID. Change the title, updates it, and that's about it. Set the flag to true. So on pre-init, we can refresh the list. All right. Deploy the solution. Okay. This is deployed to projects.contaso.com. All right, let me know if you have any questions. It's deploying and looks like it's done. So I'm just loading up the site. All right, so this is again nothing new here. Edit the page, add a web part. Okay, now the difference between this one and the last one is because this is actually a web part page, so it has zones left and right. So I'm saying add this to the left, not to the right. Okay, so that's it. Stop editing. All right, so here is my list of site. Click on it, select index changed. Okay. Do an update. It will change to P1 to P1. That's it. That's the end of that. Any questions so far, folks? Okay. All right, so add snap PSS snap-in now adds the functionality of SharePoint management into my current PowerShell session. Okay. All right. Read host, when you execute it, it will say please enter the site's URL. So I'm going to say projects.contoso.com. Whatever the user provides goes into the $site URL variable. Okay. Using the URL, we can now get a reference to the actual site. Remember, a URL is not a site. Okay, you have to say get SP site, and here's a URL to get a site object in memory. Okay, and let's see what is the site ID. So that's your site GUID, global unique ID. All right. So here's our for each loop. Ooh, that's kind of hard to read, but I can say $site.allWebs, and let's say I want to see the title. I can say select title and select ID. Okay, so this will give me all the title and ID of the site. Remember, this is a collection, right? So it has lots of properties. So I decide to look at the title and the ID. Okay. Now to know what is available, you can say get member, and this will tell you what is available. You can say what's the URL, what's the UI version, what is the title, what's the theme. Okay, all these can be accessed. What's the root folder, recycle bin, portal URL, parent web, name, master URL modules. So in any case, you can really go to town with this stuff to say, tell me what is your URL, tell me what are your workflows. Oops. All right, so if there's any workflow going on, how many workflows are there? Okay, that's a URL and so on. All right. So essentially here, this for each, just go through each loop and say, do you want to edit this? And if your choice is yes, then what do you want to change it to? Okay, press enter to cancel, and it does the title updates. Right? So this shows you that the same object model can be accessed through PowerShell, and it's very, very easy.